doing, and I understand the cost of building. If you're telling me that the land is going to cost $50 million, you overpaid. But I think the other side to that is you have people in the community, and like the other gentleman, Mr. Stoddard, who mentioned he didn't get emails back, I'm one of those people. When I saw waste and spending happening, I didn't get emails back. It took a lot of threatening emails before I finally got an email back. So I'm one of those people, I want to help you guys. I'm on board with schools, with education. I donate lots of money. The last district I lived in, I donated more than $300,000. This is something that we do. This is what our business does. We're happy to have the conversation and to help and to do whatever we can to provide any public input, to sit on boards, whatever you need us to do. We want to do that and we want to help. But we need you to understand that we may have elected you, but you have to also take our input when we get it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And appreciate you being here.
Yeah, Brett, let me give you an alternative opinion on that. A couple of things. Mr. Sutter of Midway, he sent an email over, and it was lost over the weekend, and we're going to get back to him. Now, if you feel like your voice isn't heard, it's been heard tonight, so we appreciate you coming. We also appreciate additional attendance from you in board meetings and study sessions that we have on a monthly basis. And those are open to the public. So we would hope to continue to have this conversation with you and anybody else that would like to give us input. Our goal as a school board is to build this similar type of building that we're in right now. We want to have parity between the buildings, similar to the parity that we are working toward with the two middle schools. Right now we just barely built the second middle school, and that was a big step for a school district our size. And the process, we've learned a lot on having two middle schools, and we'll continue down that path with two high schools. So I would just say in conclusion about the communication we can improve, note taken, and we would hope to have this not be our last conversation with you, Brad.
Okay, we'll take some more comments or questions.
Holly Wadley, 730 Wasatch Drive in Midway. Just a couple thoughts based on some of these other comments as well. I heard a comment on stage that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way when you said we've included who should be included in this planning. I'm sorry, but most of us, neighbors, people have been talking. We never saw a single survey or anything saying, you know, I think most people in the valley recognize and agree we need a second high school, and I don't think that's the issue so much as it is the input into going into that second high school. For example, my kids attend here. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of great things about the school, but there are some things that if we're going to pattern it after it, the classroom sizes, they outgrew so quickly. The cafeteria, they outgrew so quickly. They can't fit the student body in the auditorium. So if we're going to be patterning after this, I would just love to see those changes made that are going to account for all of the growth that's coming, not just the current growth and the current foray that we're thinking it's going to be, but you know, we've got to be able to plan ahead and have some of those possibilities open. But also just reaching out to the public prior to having these meetings and the presentation that says, here's what we pretty much decided. It would be nice to be able to have some input prior to those stages so that some of these changes can be made. Just quick question too, is I'm curious on the property that's being purchased for the high school. So is that, I'm just curious, is that the same property that was just at the past elections, trying to get rezones or reconfigured into the different zoning? I'm just curious on that and why that actual property was selected over some of the other options. And then one other thought too is a lot of the high schools now are starting to do collaborations like with ECHOs and places like that to do maybe our auditoriums, make them larger where that can benefit the entire community as well. So I'm just wondering if those are things that have been looked at, those options with the new school, some of those things can be looked at to kind of help with the budget. Because I too am a little concerned about the prices on everything. They're hefty price tags, and as much as I love my kids, they don't need everything to be over the top and plush. I want them to be normal kids too. So just a few thoughts that I'd like to see addressed. Thank you.
One more concern I have with Middleton's name. You know, it seems like the bypass is planned and the school is planned, and I just wonder, are we concerned at all about the hazardous materials that go through our town being so close to our schools? Is that anything that we've talked with you about what kind of traffic and the speeds and the sound buffers and things that are going to need to go up, and the safety of having high-speed traffic? I know there's a buffer of a neighborhood belong to those people, but it just seems like there's got to be a way to reduce the hazardous material, especially going through neighborhoods and near schools. Anybody got a thought on that?
After her comment, I've noticed that the approach to our airport here, jets coming right in over this high school, which is a safety concern to me, even though I wasn't here when it was built.
Bob Beagley, 1995 River Road. Thank you for your time and your efforts. I agree with a lot of the comments. I come from a little bit different background. I grew up in Las Vegas, and the year I left to serve my church, I had 13 high schools, all twice the size of Wasatch. So I came from a little different. My graduating class had 1,500 seniors in it. Okay, so as far as I'd like to speak a comment as far as opportunities to excel and receive, one of the top 5 students in the nation was in my graduating class. We had plenty of opportunities to exceed. So I understand, and I can understand the want to stay small. But I think a lot of the frustrations that you're probably hearing is price tag and building something that is not future. The comments that I've been in other meetings were, well, we're afraid we're not going to get the public to just pass this because it's so big. I can promise you the Valley would probably put up a $200 million bond if they saw a vision that would take care of their kids for the next 10, 15 years versus this will take care of us till next year, and then we're going to have to build another one and another one and another one. Because as the bonds fall off and the growth and it comes in, it levels out, we're going to have another one. So your taxes are going to go up regardless. I don't think anybody in the Valley cares. We're going to need another high school. We're going to need 5 more elementaries, right? I mean, if you go out to the perspective of what's going to be built out in the next 20, 30, 40 years, build that valley all the way out, we're going to need to build some more. And I think people will understand that. They want to see a vision, and we understand that we're not going to build, if we have issues with this, but then we're going to propose the same thing that we have issues with, you're going to get kickback. So I think some of that vision needs to be, okay, we build this, how can we improve upon it, even though we're worried about the kids. I'll tell you what my little Sadie and said today, because we asked the kids. And she said, I said, you want to tear down another? No, I don't want to tear down, I love it. And what I'm hearing is a lot of wants versus a lot of needs. So we need to strike a balance between wants and needs. And what I mean by that is enough classrooms for the kids. Open space is great architecture is fine. But when it comes to the cost of not having enough classrooms, I don't think people would appreciate it, especially what it takes to heat and cool and the maintenance that it takes for not having year-round school. And I know I'm over, but my kids don't play in my wife's nice front room with the windows and the beautiful view to the out in the backyard. They play in the stuffy attic together. So I think we need to give our kids a little bit of credit that they will excel and they will begin and they will be happy. I agree with Holly, they don't have to have everything. Our teachers are amazing, and they love the teachers, whether it's in a cinder block school or whether it's in a big open structure. let's give them credit for who they are, and let's build some of what we need, and give us a vision. I'll vote yes on a $200 million bond if I see a vision that takes care of us for the next 15 instead of the next 2. Thanks.
Potter, 151 Millers Mile Road in Heber City, also the mayor of Heber. First, thank you for this hard work. I share some of your pain in trying to manage the growth that we're facing and try to maintain the community and the things that we love and balance out the tax dollars that we all know are precious and hard-won by the people that give them. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things on that map, just sort of an update on what's happened within Heber City planning. Can we look at that map one more time, just where the school was, and I can just share just a couple of things just to clarify. So we had an annexation petition, a request. All of that property was requested to be annexed into Heber City before this school was proposed or the land was purchased. And that annexation has not been accepted. That was a preliminary design. Once we found out about the school, I spoke with the developers personally because I thought from my meetings with UDOT that the likely route was going to be the one closest to the city. I wasn't a part of the conversations you guys had, so we thought because of the environmental issues and all the things that are going to come up in the study that it would likely be the one that went through where the high school is going. So when we talked to the developers, they put everything on hold so we can make sure that there is a good route for the bypass parkway on right where that number 10 is. I don't know if that's where it's going to be, but that's kind of been put on hold. They've also put everything, they want to get some development down lower, but the council hasn't approved it. So that is not necessarily what it's going to look like. There's still opportunity for conversation because it has not been annexed nor any kind of design or density approved by Heber City. Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Sorry, if anybody else wants to kick me out, I have one other thing about cost for you. I personally know, I help run a painting company. That's what I do. We have, 75 employees. We painted structures bigger than this. I personally know of contractors in this valley, and I don't know if it's antitrust, you can get bids, but if we were given the opportunity, and I've seen some of the opportunity to bid on these, we could help you with those costs. Competitive bid, but everybody in the valley get there and get on that bid list and help you keep that cost and donate time. And I'm willing to do that, and we can approach every contractor that's in this valley because most of the ones that live in this valley are successful contractors and know how to build these buildings. So that's an opportunity. I don't know if you've approached. I know the builders that build the schools, but that's something just for the people in this valley that I know people in this valley would help with that and be able to do that and help limit some of your construction costs that way. So it's an opportunity to maybe look at.
Brian Thorne, 440 Huckleberry Lane, Heber City, Utah. I work at Midway Elementary and love Midway Elementary, love the kids there. I want to talk just a little bit about some of the things that we're struggling with. Today we had an assembly, had all of our kids there, and I think 8 years ago when I started at Midway, we fit on half the gym. We stretched pretty much to the back of the gym today, and we're in a school that wasn't designed for 690 kids. Our sewage system wasn't designed for 690 little people to go to the bathroom. Our kitchen wasn't designed for 690 kids to be fed. We're moving an additional classroom to portable this year. That puts 5 grade level classrooms in portables, two of those being preschool. When we had our lockdown this year, that was a source of stress for us. To have 5 classrooms of children in a portable with the lockdown it was a little heart-wrenching. It was definitely. We have a person we're displacing with this new classroom who's a speech pathologist, and we don't have a logical place to put her. In the last 3 years, we've had her in the closet. We've had her in the corner of a cafeteria with a petition around her. And we're not sure where we're going to put her this year. We'll find a place, and she'll excel in that place. We'll give her everything she needs. But we have some very serious space issues, And we would love to problem solve those with everybody, and we appreciate the good comments today. But there's some realities that we're living in that are difficult. And I just want to thank the board for taking that on. I appreciate how open they've been. I feel like this is a group that I have nothing but trust and good things to say about. And just want to thank you for taking care of the kids in Midway Elementary and this valley, and also all of our educators. Thank you.
Connie Edwards, 2865 South, 3600 West in Charleston. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when we built this building, we cut it back because people were accusing us of building a Taj Mahal. It seems to me that there was a balcony in here that would have served us well. Had we done that years ago? I'm not sure if I'm correct on that, but I think that was the case. My concern is this time that our community is going to think we're building too big of a building again and not see the need to do it while we can when it's cheaper. So that would be my concern. I also work here. I'm in meetings where it's grueling, trying to figure out where we're going to put people, where we're going to put teachers. We are using closets, we're using storage rooms, we're using every space we can get to accommodate our teachers and to make it a good education for your students. I'm in the halls. I would challenge you to come and spend a day. I don't think you can have an opinion if you are not here and you don't see what it is like every single day for these kids and how crowded it is and for these teachers. So I just appreciate all of your hard work. I appreciate your vision. I appreciate the fact that you are thinking for the future. I hope the public sees that they don't make us cut it back again, so that in 2 years we're doing this again, just as the gentleman said. So I hope that we think about this. I hope that we use our heads this time, that we support what is being proposed, because I trust that you've done your due diligence. You've said you have. I have full trust in you that you've done that. And I just challenge anybody, come and visit us. Come and see what it's like here, because it's crowded and we need this. And I appreciate all of your work, so thank you.
Okay, we'll take just a break here for a minute and see if anybody has any comments or answer any questions from the board or from the directors. Sure. Mayor from Midway. We'll hear you first, and then we'll take a break.
Thank you. Celeste Johnson, 136 East Chautauqua, also the mayor of Midway. I just wanted to, I echo Mayor Potter's comments. We deal with very difficult things right now as one of the fastest growing counties in the country. We all understand that. I don't think anybody here is debating that we've got crowded schools and we've got growth issues. I just want to share with you that many citizens have talked to me, and so I'm here representing my citizens, that they just are a little frustrated that they haven't, I think it's been very difficult for me to hear back there, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating something that's already been said, but we would love to see some creative alternative solutions perhaps being proposed or discussed or whatever. I get that you guys have already done a ton of that. I understand the process. But I do think that there are some incredible possibilities that could be considered if we brainstorm. I also wanted to say I appreciated the opportunity when you came to Midway to show us the potential for the Midway Elementary School. We have never been approached, however, about the high school. So it was rather surprising to me to know that something that is so impactful on my community had not been shown to us. Again, I appreciate that things happen, but I want to share that with you. I believe I heard a comment that the cities and counties have been consulted on all of this, and in my opinion, I don't know that we were terribly consulted, at least on the high school piece. And then finally, I just, and I realize this may rub a few people wrong, but I feel like I've gone back in time to 1950. There's a whole bunch of men up there. Where's the women?
Amen.
Just a thought.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, we'll take a moment now and open it up to any comments or questions, or answer any questions from the board directors.
I'm shocked she said that.
Just wanted to talk about some Bodiley's comment. Is that right? Say that, Bodiley, correct? We have looked at, and we are continuing to look at options. The one you mentioned about some collaboration with different entities such as the Eccles group. And we are in the planning of this next high school. We are looking at that, and there's some exciting things to do with that too. And if you think back, I was here long enough to know 9 years ago, 10 years ago, we really had to scale this building back because of public outcry. And we did have a mezzanine that would have been in this building that would accommodate probably all the student body currently here. But because of doing that and scaling it back, and so we're facing that same thing going forward with this next one. Are we going to build it big enough? And I agree. We want to have a vision for the future of what we're doing, and we'll dot every I, cross every T, really well.
I just wanted to address, I didn't get the name, but the school size, the gentleman from Las Vegas.
Yep, let's make it talk easy.
Okay. You know, being the fastest growing county in the state and the fourth fastest growing county in the nation, I think we have a choice right now, and this is why we are considering this. This is why we're bringing it to the public, to get public input. The purpose of this meeting is to get your input, not to argue our opinion with everything that you say. And so I appreciate you getting up and voicing your opinion. I think it's a decision right now that Wasatch County needs to make on how big we want our schools to be. When we see Cache County and Washington County growing so fast, and talking with their board members, when they come to a certain student population, they build another school. And so, right now, solving the future issues for 15 years, being the fastest growing county in the state and fourth fastest in the nation, I don't know that this school is going to do that. I don't think that it will. I don't think that we can build a school big enough right now. I don't think that in the circles that I'm in the input that I get, I don't think that's what's wanted. So just moving forward, I think that we are planning on building, and I won't be on the school board then, but another high school is in the future. The Sorensen property will be much more in play in the future with the growth that's been proposed and presented. So I just wanted to reiterate that if we do not answer or come back on every comment, this meeting is for public input. Being recorded, we're going to listen to it again. So thank you for coming and thank you for giving your input. Comments are noted.
I think the comments from the two mayors as well, we're open for suggestions on anything as far as property goes. It's not easy finding property in this valley. And we turned over every rock trying to find the piece to put this.
I would just make the comment that it's difficult. There's been a few comments about more community involvement, getting to this point. I would just go back in time a little bit and the time when we did float a bond that failed. By the way, this is live streaming on Facebook. If you want to let your friends know, it's all being live streamed tonight. We went to the voters. Mr. Clyde talked about this with a $44 million bond to build a new high school in Wasatch County. It would have been the third high school built, the replacement building. Eventually this building took the place of that. That bond failed. And we heard loud and clear back in those days that there were a couple of reasons why the bond failed. Number one, we didn't tell them where the school was going to be or where it was proposed to be, and we did not show them a plan. And the good people of this valley told us very clearly that when you propose a bond, we need to know where you propose to build it and what you propose to build. And 2 years later, after we did the work and we took that input, and I believe the board was very open to that input, we came back with a plan. We came back with a site and a school plan. And that bond passed at almost, in fact, I believe it was at 70%. And so, you know, you have to look at the process and say, where do you start? Where do you finish, and what happens in between? Well, we are now in this process where pieces of property are under contract. Nothing has been purchased yet. Property is under contract. We're proposing that it be built there. We're also proposing that we build a school that is somewhat similar to this one. Would we improve on this building? Of course we would. One thing we won't do is apologize for this building, because this building is a phenomenal, forward-thinking educational structure. And there are school districts that come from in-state, out-of-state, from around the Intermountain area that want to build one just like it. In fact, it's being built right now for the 5th time since this building was built, because it is so educationally friendly. It has natural light in almost all of the buildings, the flow into the commons area. It lends itself very well to a great educational environment. That doesn't mean that we won't make changes. We'll maybe put some things back in that was value engineered out. Those of you that were around when this was built know that instead of 3 to 6% construction cost increase per year, we experienced that per month from when the time the bond was passed until the school was bid. And it was a difficult time, and some hard decisions had to be made. But we are now in the, for those of you that are saying we want more input, this is that input time. If the board does decide to float a bond, they will decide that probably in a late August board meeting. And between now and then, with the videos going out and the information, we are trying to show you what we are proposing, gather your feedback. There's plenty of time to make adjustments. There's plenty of time to consider all the comments that come from the community in cumulative. And that's just what the board plans to do. So we appreciate you being here and participating in this very important public part of this process as we move forward with what now is clearly a proposal. Thank you.